you see a lot of singers and vocalists on stage and they're, you know, doing this. But I'm going to do it and you're going to see that there's really no strain. You're going to see muscle engagement. You're not going to see muscle strain. Here we go. Hey everybody, Mark with Cardivox Academy here. We're doing something weird today. Not that weird. Today, we're talking about Bring Me the Horizon's new song, Parasite Eve. Now, if you're a regular viewer, you might be seeing this and thinking, this is a little outside of what we normally do. And the answer to that is yes, it is. But you know, I want to get some variety in here. We're still going to be talking about gutturals and tunnels and slam and all those crazy vocal styles, but sometimes it's fun to change it up. Also, apparently the song is really good. Moment of transparency, I don't follow Bring Me the Horizon really at all. Not for any particular reason, it's just not my normal cup of tea. You know, I'm much more into like that sort of stuff, right? So, a real quick caveat, I do know that Ollie Sykes has damaged his voice before, so when I am talking about this, I'm going to be talking less about what he's doing and more about how you can do it properly. Because despite all the guttural stuff on the channel, I do help people with this type of vocal as well. One really cool announcement, we launched a Patreon recently. Pretty neat, and it is going to be awesome. It's officially rolling out the 1st, but people who are already on there, they're going to be benefiting from live sessions with me where I review their voice over Skype or Discord, 20-minute evaluation sessions, live group Q&As, polls to vote for one video of a month that I review here on the channel, all sorts of other cool stuff, monthly motivational videos about the finer nuances of being a vocalist, what happens after you can make the screaming sound. So there's a lot of benefit there. Check us out on Patreon if you are so inclined. And also, if you want expert level feedback from me on your vocals, where I can listen to you and give you feedback, you can also do that via Wizio. Details below. Let's go ahead and get started. Wow. A lot has changed.
Fever, don't breathe on me. I'm a believer and nobody won't let me leave, cause I've seen something. Hope I don't sneeze, I don't. Really, we just need to feel something. Only pretending to feel something. I know you're dying to run. I wanna turn you around.
Please remain calm.
This video is funky. Couple things. It'll just take a couple seconds here. I would love to know what sound clip is at the beginning. So if anybody knows, if anybody just happens to know what song that is at the beginning, let me know. Yeah, a lot has changed in Bring Me the Horizon world. Let's keep going. Interesting.
The end has arrived. We cannot save you. Enjoy the ride. This is the moment you've been waiting for.
This is cool so far.
This is a war.
It's a parasite Eve. Got a feeling in your stomach cause you know that it's coming for you. Leave your flowers and grieve. Don't forget what they told you.
Nice.
When we forget the infection, will we remember the lesson? It's the suspense that they kill you. Something else will. Move.
Oh. Okay, let's pause right there. I kind of got distracted because I haven't heard these guys in so long. Not really. And I did not expect this sound. I'm behind the times, clearly. Let's talk about what's going on here. Because that's what we do on this channel. We go a little bit more in depth with our reaction videos. We kind of try to explain what's going on. We make it educational, edutainment. Okay, so if you are a frequent viewer of this channel, right? And you are more into like the guttural side, or like even like the more like the false chords that you would hear in like slam and a lot of deathcore, or like the fry screams that are like technically pitchless, right? We don't have our true chord sound, the sound of our voice. We're working with overtones. This is going to be a lot different. You're going to have to approach this differently than you would like your normal vocals. I actually have 2 students I'm helping with similar styles to this. Not exactly the same thing, but pretty close. And when people come to me and they want to learn things like this, I always set a precedent. I say, okay, based on your previous experience with singing, we may not actually add distortion for like 2, 3, or 4 lessons, because you really have to understand how your voice needs to be placed when you're going to be doing these vocals. So for example, if I try to put that distortion here, A, it's a Parasite, A, you hear how that was like low and rattly and throaty? And it didn't sound that great. Now, you can do that kind of safely, but there's more of a chance of strain. And here's the thing about it. We know that Ollie Sykes has injured his voice before. This is can you do this safely? The sounds that he's making, can you do these sounds safely? Yes, you can. But you're going to need to make vocal rest part of your life right after you perform. Shut up for a while. And also, this is a very easy style to injure yourself with because there's a level of true chord engagement. Okay, so let's keep listening, and then I'll kind of talk a little bit more about how he's placing it and how we can place it properly. Let's go.
Put your pins in the needles. Quarantine all of those secrets in that black hole you call a brain before it's too late. Really, we just wanna scream something. Only pretend to believe something. I know you're baying for blood. I wanna turn you around. Please remain calm. The end has arrived. We cannot save you. Enjoy the ride. This is the moment you've been waiting for. We'll call it a warning. This is a war. It's a parasite. Gotta feel it in your stomach, cause you know that it's coming for you. Leave your flowers and grieve. Don't forget what I told you. When we forget the infection, will we remember the lesson? If the suspense doesn't kill you, something else will. It's a parasite. Gotta feel it in your stomach, cause you know that it's coming for you. Leave your flowers and grieve. Don't forget what I told you. When we forget the infection, will we remember the lesson? If the suspense doesn't kill you, something else will.
All right, so you don't have to be... If you listen to music at all, you hear a change like that and you know something's happening soon, so we're going to stop it. They're telling us, right? The band is telling us, hey, something's happening pretty soon here, so get ready. Okay, so let's talk about the vocal style a little bit. There are a couple things you're going to notice. There's a lot to this type of distorted, raspy singing that's very similar, and even like a type of belting. And it's really not something that I'm going to be able to explain 100% perfectly in one video. But the basics are going to be this: we need to move up away from our chest voice into like a mix area, right? Now, there are a lot of different ways that you can find your way there, and sometimes we have a chestier mix, sometimes we have a headier mix, sometimes we have a lot of different things. But your chest voice, for those who don't know, is down here. I'm singing and it's resonating in my chest like this, right? Then we move into the head voice. We can sing like this if we want to, right? So the balance of those two things is, generally what's called the mix. And so one of the ways I help people find that when they don't really have a lot of experience is we find where it starts to get difficult moving up from the chest, and we use an overly nasal resonance to be able to control it. So we go, yeah, right there like that. Now the nasal resonance is nice because it lets us hold it and control it. Then we take the nasality out, like this, yeah. And we found it. It's very relaxed, right? Now, there's a lot more to this exercise. You can't just throw nasality on your voice and, oh, boom, I'm belting without strain. Part of what I do when I'm teaching people this is I'm really monitoring them meticulously, looking at their neck, pulling out the strain, keeping an eye on it. But what we're going to do is we're going to add the distortion by narrowing, not constricting, engaging the... I don't want to say this to make sure it gets relayed properly. We are going to narrow the airway above the vocal folds, but we're not going to pinch it closed. Okay? I'm going to show you the difference of what that sounds like. So, and the reason we're pinching it closed is because we're making a narrow airway that will vibrate the soft tissues of the mouth, the soft palate. When I do this, yay! It's a Parasite! Yay! I don't have the melody memorized, so that was probably not the right notes. But when I'm doing like this, right here, like this, like when I'm doing that, it's very, very relaxed, and I'm narrowing the airway, and I'm feeling everything, like literally everything. With false chord, like gutturals, we still feel a little bit of vibration on the false chords themselves, but here, it's all up top, everything, and I'm pointing it forward. So when you're doing these vocals, I'm going to shut up here in a second, we're going to listen more. When you're doing these vocals, there is a serious balancing act. This takes a lot of coordination. And from what I'm hearing in his voice right now, if I was just to hear it, obviously I can't see him, it's really dark, it's a music video, but if I was to hear this, I would say it sounds good. Like, I hear you doing things pretty properly. But, you know, it's always easier to give that kind of feedback when you either have raw takes, which is what I do on Wizio. People send me raw takes of their voice, and then I listen and I give them feedback. Or if you can see them on Skype, like I do in a lesson. Anyway, let's keep going. This is gonna be good. Ah!
You can board up your windows, you can lock up your doors, yeah. But you can't keep washing your hands of this shit anymore. When all the keys off and then all the key friends don't know their options from that back again. When life is a prison and death is a door, they say you want it. This is a Parasite, got him feeling in his stomach cause he knows that it's coming for you. Leaving flowers and grief, don't forget what they told you. When we forget the infection, will we remember the lesson? If the suspense doesn't kill you, something else will. It's a parasite. It's a parasite. It's a parasite.
Man, that outro had me right in the feels. Let's find a cool frame to look at while we're talking, because I got a couple more things I want to talk about. Ooh, here, you can check this creepy nurse out. All right, so damn, you know, I remember when Bring Me the Horizon moved away from their, like, you know, old school deathcore sound. A lot of people were pissed, but if this is what a lot of their music sounds like, I'm gonna go listen to more, because I thought that song was killer. I've clearly seen that it's all over YouTube right now. They're getting millions of views. I am aware that I'm behind the times, okay? And I can see why. This is a good song. And from what I can hear, again, I would want to, like, hear a raw take of his vocals. I would want to maybe see his neck. But from what I'm hearing, it sounds like things are properly placed. Now, at one point in the video, I kind of pointed. I like to do that when there's something to pay attention to. There are two things. One is that you heard a little bit of waver in his voice, okay? You heard, I don't know why I'm holding this. You heard a little bit of waver in his voice. Like, almost like a yodel. Ah! Right? Now, this is not, I want to make very clear here that This is... There's a lot to that, but basically, we've all probably heard, or many of us have probably heard of like the vocal break or the vocal passaggio. That's what that is. Just in case you're wondering what that is, you can work that into a scream safely, but it needs to be a very specific type of scream. I do not advise you doing it without the presence of a coach, whether it's me or somebody else, if you've never attempted it before, because there are things that we listen for to make sure that you're not straining. And I'm sure that other people take that same approach as well. I doubt that that's unique to me. But that's what that is. If you're wondering what like what's that yodely sound under his scream? Yay! It's a Parasite! Kind of like that. You can do that safely. You can do that fine. But just make sure that you're really understanding diaphragmatic support, really making sure that you've done... I have a lot of exercises I do with my students to remove strain from their neck, put the work on the diaphragm. Make sure you're doing that. The last thing I wanted to talk about, he just did it very briefly. There were 2 false chord lows. He did like the bark, and he did this with his hand. Oh, whoa! He did that. Not quite as compressed as mine are, because I've spent 10 years learning how to make it as gurgly as I can. Right? But, yeah, great song. Lots of interesting things going on. But again, let's review if you take anything away from this. We need to have forward resonance. We can find that placement with a little bit of nasality. That's the word I was looking for, nasality, not nasal. Nasality. And then when we do this right here, I want you to look at my neck. I'm going to look away, so it's going to be harder to hear because of the mic. But I want you to look at my neck, and I want you to hear that when I'm adding the grit, okay, when I'm adding the grit to this, you don't see a lot of this that you see in music videos. You see a lot of singers and vocalists on stage, and they're, doing this. But I'm going to do it, and you're going to see that there's really no strain. You're going to see muscle engagement. You're not going to see muscle strain. Here we go. Yay! It's a Parasite Ave! It's a Parasite Ave! Yay! Hey, like this right here! One more, break it like that! Right? So I just did some with the waver. I did some... more clean, more tight and compressed. Did that on purpose, had full control the whole time. But no strain, no pain. And I can, I could record a song if I wanted to. Anyways, again, if you like the content, if this channel is fun for you, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us out. This year, we have a lot of big plans for Cardivox Academy. I want to open up more slots for new students. We have a Patreon, which again, you can jump on. It's super fun. It's going to be great. It's going to be basically part of my full-time job, upkeeping that Patreon. So there's going to be a lot of value for you there. And Wizio, if you want me to listen to your voice with this same level of analysis, but give you some of these exercises that I talk about, some of these exercises I save exclusively for my students, let me know. Hit me up on Wizio. Let's work together. Let's make your voice sound good. Bring me the horizon. Parasite Eve. Many thanks. Much love. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. I'm out.